So it seems every month we get an update regarding iPads getting OLEDs, and this month is no different. We have updates regarding production, so let's delve into it. So pretty credible Korean source The Elect tells us Samsung's prioritizing the displays they're going to use with the iPad Pros in 2024. So in case you weren't aware, these are two stacked displays. Essentially, they have two layers of red, green, and blue emission layers, and that should give us twice the brightness and 4 times the longevity compared to single stack displays Samsung's currently producing. So yeah, this is going to be a massive jump, and these panels should also be hybrid OLEDs, so they have the benefits of flexible panels, essentially the better colors and the better contrast ratio, but of course you get the benefits of a rigid panel like the additional durability. And it makes sense that Apple's focusing on durability because we hold onto iPads for years, especially with the iPad Pro. We have not seen major upgrades for the last few generations of iPad Pro, so of course we're holding on to these iPads for longer, so the displays should be better longevity wise. And I believe large flexible panels can wrinkle around the sides, and so yes, Apple using hybrid tech does make sense. Now, since Samsung is prioritizing the production of these panels, I'm very sure there's not going to be a delay in the release of these OLED iPads. It should see a 2024 release like previous reports have suggested. And since Samsung's going all in with these panels, I'm sure Apple's going to roll this out to other devices. We've heard about this coming to MacBooks, maybe future iMacs, and also future versions of Apple's monitors. So yeah, very excited for this change because we've had LCD on most iPads and Macs for years, and while Mini LED was a very big jump, there are obviously still supply issues, and Apple can't roll it out to all devices. So yeah, OLED does make sense, especially when there's deeper blacks and a higher brightness. Now, it's good news that Samsung is developing these panels because they are undoubtedly the OLED kings. However, do remember LG is currently producing new plants to make these dual stack panels, and so I think Samsung's going to produce the initial batch, and then LG joins in as, of course, Apple rolls this tech out to more devices. Anyways, let's delve into your comments. So Ramesh regarding iPadOS becoming more like macOS says, I doubt this. Apple's going to keep macOS and iPadOS completely separate. And yes, I know ideally that's what Apple wants, but the iPad's in a pretty awkward situation because it has all this power, but of course, the software's not utilizing it, and so eventually the iPad and the Mac need to overlap each other. So Michael says macOS on the iPad's not likely unless it's a bare bones version when the iPad's docked. Also, I can see a 14-inch iPad being possible, but not a 16-inch iPad, unless it's a drawing screen display like a Wacom Cintiq. Now, I doubt that Apple's going to go down that route, but yes, I think a 14-inch iPad, essentially a 12.9-inch model with thinner bezels, that could make sense, but a 16-inch iPad does seem pretty unlikely for the most part. And also regarding macOS, yes, I'm sure there's going to be compromises, but ultimately I can live with that. I just want the iPad to be a proper computer with software that, of course, is fully utilizing the M2 chip inside. So Evan Rogers says, an iPad Pro Max 16 inches, OLED, 256 gigs, M3, 26 gigs of RAM, will likely start at $1,600 to $2,000 and come with macOS. There is a market for native pen-on-screen support on Mac, and Apple is fine with this cannibalizing MacBook Pro 14 sales. Apple just wants your cash. They don't care which products you buy because they have fantastic margin profits on each of them. And fair, that's a good point regarding margins. I guess we could see macOS come to iPads, but I still feel like Apple's going to have some restrictions. So Waqas says, which model of iPad Pro is going to get OLED panels from Samsung, 11-inch or 12.9-inch? And while considering Samsung currently produces the displays for the iPhone Pro models, I'm assuming they're going to be producing the bigger size, but to be honest, I doubt you're going to see much of a difference. Apart from the refresh rate and the higher brightness, I can't tell a quality difference between the panel on regular iPhones and the Pro iPhones, and so I think LG and BOE's panels should be fine for the most part. And so I do think BOE and LG are going to match the quality of Samsung OLEDs. So Salman says, Saran, do you think there won't be 11-inch models in the future? Base starts at 12.9 inches and goes from 14 inches to 16 inches. I hope that doesn't happen. I love the 11-inch. Now, I'm also with you. I do prefer the 11-inch size and if Apple was to get rid of it, I'm sure the replacement would be a smaller 12-inch iPad. And yeah, that's what a reply to this comment says, and I think 12 inches would be a happy medium between the 11-inch and 12.9-inch size. And hey, if Apple does radically reduce the bezels, then this actually won't be that much bigger than the 11-inch, it should be a similar size, while giving us a much bigger display. And yes, I know in the past I have said bezels on the iPads do serve a purpose, and so they should remain the same thickness, but because Apple has so many 11-inch iPads in the lineup, I think differentiating the smaller iPad Pro with thinner bezels and a larger display would make sense. Now for those wondering, will the 12.9-inch remain with the 12-inch? I personally don't think that's going to be the case. I think the 14-inch would become the new larger size and the 12.9-inch is dead. In fact, I think the 12.9-inch size should come to the iPad Air range because an iPad Air Plus would actually be pretty popular because it would be a lot less expensive while giving you that massive real estate that I'm sure students and those who do art on the iPad are gonna appreciate. And heck, you might remember Ross Young did tell us a large screened iPad that 60Hz was in the works. However, that report did say it would be 14 inches, which would not make sense. However, 12.9-inch iPad Air, that could materialize. Now regarding bigger OLED iPad Pros, Shanti says, I am a graphic designer and the iPad Pro is a perfect tool for my work. About the display size, I think the 12.9-inch body is perfect, but I would love to see thinner bezels and OLED. And yeah, I also think 12.9 inches is perfect for most consumers, and I'm glad a graphic designer like yourself also thinks this. And yes, OLED's going to be a big upgrade for the iPads, so I'm excited we're finally getting it. So Alex H says, Drew from Talos of Tech had a good theory that Apple's waiting for the Mac transition to be fully over as we got the redesign and the new Apple Silicon chips. And then after the Mac Pro is updated, Apple will start to give the iPad more love, not only hardware-wise, but possibly software-wise too. It should be the biggest set of upgrades since the 2018 iPad Pros. And I'm hoping Drew's right about that because it does seem like the iPad's in a pretty awkward stage right now where of course it's getting all this high-end hardware like the M2 chip, but the software's not fully utilizing it. And so yes, maybe once the transition's fully complete and we're done with the Mac Pro refresh, then we see Apple give the iPad some attention. So yeah, that's basically the update for you guys, but tell me your thoughts regarding this in the comments. Anyways, thank you for watching guys, make sure to like and subscribe for the latest Apple news and rumours. Check out the link above on details regarding new HomePods, and on that note, see ya peeps.